the show begin. Next generation for the win. We're going all in. All together now, let's begin. Let the show begin.
We're here in the WiT Studio with Madhavan Kasthuri and Brett Thorstad from Sabre Corporation. And I wanted to start off by saying thanks for being here. Thanks for your time. And I want to direct this question to both of you, actually. And then after that, I'll do the very traditional thing of pointing and assigning to who I'm directing these questions to. But first off, could you name a gap or pain point in air retailing that is unsolvable today, but will most likely be addressed in the next 2 years? I want to give it.
Yeah. Let me start there, and then I'll pass it over to Madhavan. So thanks for the question, Arvind, and thanks for having us both here to talk to you today.
Pleasure.
So I think, I'm not sure if it's necessarily a gap that's unsolvable today, because I think the gap that we're thinking about is solvable, and we are doing the work to solve it. So I think what we've seen over the last several years is just an increased fragmentation of content. And that's actually taking traditional content and having airlines looking to retail it in different ways and in unique ways. So,
Right.
And we're also seeing an opportunity to bring in airline content from different sources that we haven't necessarily catered to in the past.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about really what Sabre is at its core in terms of the GDS business, it's just a marketplace. And if you think about in our lifetimes, the most successful marketplaces have been companies like Walmart or Amazon. And what made Walmart and Amazon successful is that they solved this issue of fragmentation of supply. So they made everything that you could possibly want all in one store, one-stop shop, and essentially that model was very welcomed by consumers. We are seeing the exact same opportunity in terms of travel content, and
Right.
Sabre being in the middle of the travel ecosystem, we are the ones that are, I think, best positioned to kind of replicate that model. So I'll let Madhavan talk a little bit about how that marketplace is evolving and how we're building to it. But that is the vision for Sabre, is to create that marketplace, to create that Walmart, Amazon experience where you can go into Sabre and everything you want is on the shelf.
Kind of like a superstore.
A superstore.
Superstore.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think Brett set this up really, really well. The keyword is fragmentation.
Right.
And the problem that results from fragmentation is aggregation and normalization. And Sabre has always been in the business of aggregating content.
Right.
We've done a great job of it for many years. But with fragmentation, the point that Brett mentioned, the supply is getting even more diverse.
Mm-hmm.
There are various different unstandard standards, like NDC, for example. The airlines are trying to use it as a standard.
Right. Unstandard standards. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's actually, I don't know what the term for it is. I don't know, it's a misnomer or whatever.
Right.
I say that because airlines want to set up the standard for distribution of content on the indirect channel.
Right.
On the direct channel, it's easier to solve, right? Airlines can create a retailing experience, but making sure that the same experience is available to the customer on the indirect channel is very important, because the customers are going to go wherever they want to go and shop, right? And the experience that they get should be consistent across all the channels through which they are accessing a product.
Right.
And coming back to fragmentation, the problem that is not solved now is aggregating and normalizing this newly fragmented content. So the NDC standard that I'm talking about, which I called as the Unstandard Standard, it's not standard because NDC is a guideline and different airlines implement it differently.
Right.
So content gets fragmented as a result of NDC evolving. And then there are also low-cost carriers, and their content needs to be distributed. And then you can go beyond air, and there is rail, and there is also hotel content. So there is a plethora of content that needs to be distributed in the marketplace. And we think we are very close to solving the problem of normalization, which is the hard bit, because you have content with different data structures coming from different data sources. So when you talk about normalization, how do you make it consistent? How do you make the content perform at a certain level? Because it's not just about having a common data structure. It's about making sure the content surfaces, for example, on a mobile app or on a web page within a certain latency. The content is accurate. When the customer is trying to buy something, that content is actually available when they're trying to book it. Right. And then normalizing the full workflow. in the sense, after they book content, when I say workflow, this is all the steps involved in servicing that content. Any product, you buy it, you want to make changes to it, you might want to return it. One of the key things for retailing is having the ability to return a product, right? If you can't return a product, the customer is not going to feel confident to go ahead and make that purchase. So making the return workflow work smoothly, work consistently across all sources, that's the challenge to solve when it comes to normalization. We are very excited about it because we've solved it many times in the past.
Right.
And the problem is resurfacing again. And yeah, we're looking forward to solving it again.
To doing it all over again.
All over again.
On that note, so Madhavan, the Sabre's AI platform is modular by nature, right? And allows agencies to choose components that fit their different needs. What are some of the most in-demand modules, and how do you see that sort of flexibility evolving over time?
Yeah, that's a brilliant question. Before I go into that answer, our journey to make our platform modular, we are very proud of it. This year is actually a milestone year.
Right.
We have a lot of firsts this year. We migrated a huge amount of our tech stack from the mainframe onto open systems, which is what makes our platform very, very modular. We're very proud because during COVID, when businesses were shutting down, when businesses were firing people, we held the course.
Right.
We did not shrink our workforce. Yeah, we had some amount of, optimization, but we kept 80% plus of our workforce. We stayed the course on investing in our technology. Therefore, we have this platform which allows us to build this modular tech.
Right.
Now, going to a specific question of what are the most exciting, interesting modules, it's actually a long list, but what customers are very excited about, it actually depends on the customer. So if you look at the airlines, they are very, very keen on the offer and order modules for airline retailing on the airline direct channel. When it comes to the distribution side of our business, it gets much, much bigger and in one sense complex. And customers are again excited on the servicing modules and also the shopping modules. So we have some very exciting modules in shopping. So e-commerce, this day and age, well, not this day and age, it's been like this for the last 20, 30 years. Whenever e-commerce started growing, the caching technology is a very, very important component, right? Because our platform is a global platform and we're also living in a globalized world.
Sure.
So most of the travel agencies are big global companies who are selling to customers all over the world. So when they are putting content out there, caching becomes a very, very key component. And caching has to be intelligent. And this is an example of a very exciting module, and there are many more.
Right. And, Brett, I wanted to ask you, right, and this is a bit of a long question. Sabre estimates that AI could generate about $28 billion in global revenue, and 74% of travel organizations are looking at incorporating AI. You also signed a partnership with Google in 2020 to leverage its cloud services and AI expertise. And I want to know, 4 years later, has your perception of AI shifted internally, or has it stayed the same? Is it as expected, better than expected, could be better? How do you see AI today?
Yeah. I think personally, I would say it's turned out better than expected. So maybe I was more on the camp of the AI hype train and would it actually deliver the results that we had promised it would. But
you're a bit skeptical?
I was a bit skeptical. This last, I'd say 12 months, Sabre's actually introduced 10 AI microservices that we actually have available today for customers to try.
Right.
With another 7 that are in development. And of the 10 that are available today to try, the reaction from the community has been overwhelmingly excited, positive. And I think that's probably what surprised me the most, is that these things are not just hype. They're actually working to solve real world problems. A few of them that we've already launched that have already been, adopted around the whole ecosystem or the whole, Sabre community is Lodging AI, which actually provides cross-sell opportunities for hotels that have not been booked in connection with an air ticket.
Sure.
That's now become a standard feature in our Sabre Red 360 platform. We've also got, AI use cases internally in Sabre. And one of them that's really worked out, I think, surprisingly well for us is, the GDS is a very complex business, and it takes years for our internal customer support folks to become expertise at it, and our customers likewise for them to train their consultants. So there are a lot of knowledge articles out there on how to use the GDS, how to ticket properly, how to service bookings. We've actually applied some AI to summarize some of those knowledge articles in a way that has surprisingly come back to be a lot more easy to understand, to digest than the original knowledge base article that was written. So it's already proven to be very helpful to our both internal support folks as well as our external customers who are looking for Sabre support. So the use cases, I think, are growing.
Right.
We're working with a number of our very large customers on what they need for in the field of AI, or what ideas they have to leverage AI, and we're open to doing that on sort of customer by customer basis. If they have an idea for AI, our team is hungry to kind of work closely with them to develop and implement that use case. So
Right. On that note, I wanted to get your thoughts about something, and maybe Brett, we can start with you, then we go over to Madhavan. Like, do you think the buzz around AI-driven solutions, you mentioned customers a few times, right? Does that also create sort of unrealistic demand for quote-unquote everything AI products from the travel agents and partners? Because now, if it's not AI, no one wants to look at it.
Yeah, I think in some respects it does.
Right.
Our customers almost universally, when they meet with us, they want to understand, what are we doing on the AI front?
Yeah.
So you don't meet a customer who's not interested in the AI story. That being said, we are actually seeing, like I just talked about, real world benefits of leveraging our relationship with Google and developing these travel AI products together. And so I don't think it's just buzz anymore. It's actually, where are your pain points that we can help solve, either something on the cost side or maybe opportunities on the revenue side.
Right.
Another AI microservice that's available for testing today is Email Analyzer, which we have customers who get thousands of email inquiries from their travelers, and you can apply an AI to sort of standardize and normalize the request in that email, and many times that email is just asking for an exchange of a ticket, and the AI can actually process that request, generate a response that says, here's the cost to change the ticket from Monday to Wednesday.
Yeah.
And so saving their consultants a lot of time, and obviously time is money. So
right.
It's a great answer, Brett. And I don't think the expectation is kind of unfounded, right? Because AI is all around us. A lot of our customers are technology companies themselves. They use AI in one form or the other. So I think the expectation is realistic. In fact, when it comes to us, we are a technology company. So our customers rightly expect that we actually lead the way on AI.
Right.
And we have this partnership with Google, which I think is a very, very significant partnership. Of course, we use Google for the Google Cloud platform, but our partnership is way beyond that. We partner with Google to share their tools, Google's Vortex AI systems, Google Gemini AI, and also a lot of know-how. So Google spends a lot of time working with our data scientists, bringing them up to speed on Google's AI tools. So our customers naturally expect that partnership to result in AI that they can actually see and use. And it is very consistently aligned with our vision. So we have a lot of products that solve a lot of problems in the travel space. A forward-looking view, and I think Brett already spoke about 10 AI microservices or example AI components that we have. This is sort of, you can think of this as the early days, right? And we are kind of proving the value of AI with these microservices. But our mid to longer term vision is to actually embed AI in all of our products. So the products are powered by AI. And I think this is very, very important, because with fragmentation, we have to solve problems at a much larger scale, and AI only helps make it easier, makes it more efficient.
Right.
So that's how we think about it.
And how do you sort of balance the need for that advancement or technological advancement with the agency's sort of maybe apprehension towards maybe cost or operational disruption? They might need to change things on their side. So how do you balance both of that?
So this is a brilliant question, right? A lot of the solves from AI is in the space of operational efficiency for agencies. And if you look at one of the key problems that our agencies are facing, it is, in general, costs are going up, right? The supply chain problems caused from the pandemic are not fully solved yet. Inflation in many markets goes up. Interest rates are not coming down as fast as they should. So costs are generally going up. So the modules that they use from Sabre, they expect it to unlock cost savings in terms of operational efficiency. And the AI-driven modules definitely help us do that. Brett mentioned an example of how we are using AI to very quickly train our help desk staff.
Right.
Now, that use case can be extended to developers, right? And a lot of our agency, like OTAs, for example, they are tech shops. They have developers who are working on the top of the funnel, interacting with the end customer. So they have to develop applications and product fast. And AI tools like the Copilot can actually, make development much, much faster and quicker.
Right.
So that will release efficiency. That's one use case, one example, and there are lots more like that.
Right. And Brett, what do you think is the most important factor when it comes to strategic partnerships in today's landscape and distribution landscape? And basically, what makes or breaks a good partnership?
Yeah. That's a really good question. So, we talked earlier about creating this new marketplace for travel and how we're looking to kind of emulate what Walmart did, what Amazon did. And what they did was create a marketplace that was essentially one-stop shop for all content. But also not just having the most content, but having the content delivered in a consistent way. And so when or supply delivered in a consistent way, when you go into a Walmart store, you don't have like cereal boxes all over the floor and, fruits and vegetables all mixed in with the dry goods.
Right.
It's organized in a way and in a consistent manner where you've got the red apples next to the green apples. We're thinking about the marketplace the same way. So Madhavan talked about one of the biggest challenges is normalization. So how do you organize everything that's in your supply in a very consistent way?
Right.
Sometimes you have to, work closely with your partners to make sure that there are clear expectations around what is needed to make that marketplace a thriving marketplace that works for both, supply of content and a purchaser of content. So that's Sabre's job. We sit in the middle of that two-sided marketplace, and our job is to make sure that there's value on both sides. There's a consistent approach that, consumers of content come to the Sabre GDS because they know that the cereal will be in the cereal aisle,
right,
and the apples will be in the fruit aisle.
Right.
So
they are where they're supposed to be.
We're very aware of the need for I think consistent standards and normalization, and we're working closely with our partners. We have 400 plus airlines that participate in the Sabre marketplace.
Right.
And the only way that works is if we can kind of standardize and normalize the way that their content is offered. So yeah, we see the value, and we have a role in making sure that marketplace continues to be the one-stop shop.
Right. Right. Final question, and I think a good way to close would be to ask, if you could pick one word to describe next generation, what would that word be? Brett, you first.
So I'll give us both an answer. Sabre actually was the first GDS to create this GDS marketplace in 1960. It was a collaboration between American Airlines and IBM.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been using, legacy Edifact technology for 60 plus years. Over the last 10 years, this concept of NDC, of offer and order, has started to gain momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I think about next generation, I think there is a massive transformation underway in terms of the GDS technology stack.
Right.
And for us, next generation is our next generation marketplace. So we are essentially redoing all the plumbing, all the wiring in the marketplace to be able to accept NDC content, LCC content, traditional EDIFACT content,
Right.
hotel content, car, everything. Put it all in the marketplace. Make sure it's organized in a consistent way, and make sure that we have everything available that can be shopped. And so I think that's, to me, what next generation means is essentially recreating that marketplace that Sabre created 60 years ago.
Right.
I had the benefit of listening to Brett. The one word I would use is the word open.
Open.
And yes. And in Sabre, right now, at this point in time, the word open has so many different contextual meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So we are on open systems platform. So the technology we use is very open, which means we have access to a lot of developers out there who can actually come on board, very quickly learn our open systems-based technology and develop very, very fast, very efficiently. So that is one. The second context of openness, in the past, Sabre used to actually distribute content or offers that Sabre creates, right, on EDIFACT, ATP Co content.
Right.
We have to move away from that. We are very conscious about that. And I think we are leading also in that space, because in a fragmented world, we have to be open to absorb content from any source. And this plays right into the multi-source vision that Brett is talking about. We have to build a platform that is open for all different types of supply. So that's a very, very important word. And then also when it comes to open, there is also this concept of soft standards,
Right.
not unstandard standards. So we are believing in creating this marketplace, which is actually powered by AI, and it makes it very easy for suppliers to plug and play their content. Now, for them to seamlessly plug their content in, we are actually going to create a standard.
Right.
The way we will enforce the standard is by making it very easy and intuitive, so that suppliers don't feel they have to look at a rule book and follow a standard, but it's just the way the system is built. It's open in nature, so that it's easy for suppliers to put their content in and get the benefit of the AI that powers the platform and all the products underneath. So for me, that is the single word I think that brings it all together.
Open. Fantastic. Madhavan, Brett, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
They're ready now. Let the show begin. Next generation for the win. We're going